Yes, or tomato.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning. Oh my gosh, happy day.
We're back at it again. It's been a little bit of a minute.
It has been a little bit of a minute. Oh my gosh, I've aged quite a bit since that minute too.
No,
Look at that.
no, but I was thinking about this the other day. We do the best that we can in a lot of ways.
Always.
In a lot of ways.
We
But sometimes
do.
the ADDHD or oh no.
Or the AGE.
Yeah, or the LBGQ. No, sometimes life gets crazy. And so
Life
life
gets
has been
crazy.
crazy. We're
It
trying to get
does.
back into a zone.
Yep.
The day
Yep.
is kind of been interesting. Monday's getting busier for both of us, interestingly.
I know.
Um,
Yes.
So we're going to be figuring that out. But
Just for a while.
yeah.
I'm going to go in and switch in my shoulder for a new one. So once that's done, we'll get some more Mondays.
Is that like real random ADHD moment, right? So what does that look like? They go in there and they replace what?
Well, what it looks like right now is really kind of like a mess.
Oh, no.
I've got multiple loose bodies floating around in there, and the biggest issue now, I've been waiting 5 years. This wasn't something that I took lightly, because I've had a lot of clients that have said to me, isn't there an alternative? And I'm like, well, there has been, even stem cells, and I did stem cells as well. But I've got so many loose bodies in the shoulder because I have no cartilage at all, and I don't have most of the bone in my rotator cuff, the bone underneath
because
the ball
it's
and
been rubbing.
socket. Yeah, that at some point all the loose bodies are going to jam up under my tendons, and I won't be able to either lift my arm or raise or lower my arm.
Okay.
So, and it's getting there. I can feel it. It's like I told my chiropractor that it feels like I've got a small puppy in there, and it's moving around and it's doing some things.
Wow. And you can feel it.
He thought that was weird, but very weird. And I told him I am weird. But my goal is, when it's all done, is I'm going to have a new ball and socket, and they're going to put in something that looks like, really, it looked like they got it from one of the office supply stores. A little plastic thing that goes in there to hold it all together. So I'll have an artificial rotator cuff and in ball and socket.
And is that what they do with hips too?
I don't really know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know the whole. I would hope and think so.
Yeah.
And they're going to take the bone spurs off my shoulder blade. So, no more warrior or alien for me. They're all going away. So, yes, that's coming up March 12th. Won't that be exciting?
That will be so relieving, though.
Well, it will, except for the first week when I'm kind of in a dazed state and I have 200 messages going, can I talk to you tomorrow?
I know you're on hydroxycodone, but do you have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
That's going to turn into 45, I promise.
Yeah. I love it. Love you all too. You know who you are. But no, it is going to be exciting. It's going to be a little scary. I've decided I'm a very private person by nature. I know all my Facebook buddies that never see me on Facebook wonder where I am and where did I go. You're going to see me probably in my rarest and rawest form. I don't want you to forget me, but I am not seeing clients for a whole few weeks.
Oh my God.
Probably 3 weeks in person.
You're going to start journeying to them in your dreams. You're going to miss it.
I'll have to. I've been doing that. I've been connecting to those that usually reach out to me but haven't. And I've gotten 2 of them so far to reach out to me out of nowhere and say, I don't know why you came into my mind. I figured it was time for a reading. And I'm like, it works. Okay.
That is hilarious. It's like that type of, what's weird about you mentioning the banner? I was literally in my kitchen about 2 hours ago, and I literally remembered, this is my speech impediment's getting bad again, because I almost said remembered.
What's that? That worked too.
I remembered that.
I love you. I love you. Oh, good. We had fun.
I remembered
yes.
that I remembered you had talked to me one time about those banners whenever I was doing more of the wellness expos. And I remembered that Night Eye Paranormal had gotten one as well. And I thought, man, I need to reach out about those banners. And then you mentioned it just now. I'm like, well, that's us. That's how it goes.
Perfect. I know. It's so funny because the banner I have, I love the banner I have. I spent a lot of money on it and a lot of money for the photography that went on it. I had a client, so sweet. It was so funny. She, because I have that face, that persona from my banner in a lot of different places. And she was trying to find me. And so she reached out. She goes, there's a woman. It looks about 10 years younger. Is that you on the And I was like,
Goodness.
"We'll educate you on this." It was 6.5 years ago. And she was so embarrassed. And I laughed. I don't care. Like, you know what?
No.
I don't have gray because my hairdresser knows better. But
Yeah.
but I know the banners. Banners are important. They are important. I like them.
Well, and especially if, it's probably not going to be this year, but maybe in the following year, if I were ever to branch out a little bit more, would be a time that I would need to go ahead and pull that trigger.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things where, I'm glad I have a banner. I'd like it to be, again, redone. Lord knows I need the older part of me out there. That way people know where to go, right?
Well,
But,
I think you don't, I don't think you're hard to find.
well, I
Everyone
hope
blows
not.
you up all the time.
Well, I'm pretty loud, so people usually know where I am. But yes, that we'll do that. And I want to put the big logo of the wolf and the bear. I'm
Perfect.
real proud of our journey, and I'm real proud. See, I'm getting tongue tied too of how far we've come along. And I'd love to be able to reach out to the viewers and the listeners, let them know how important they are. We're not doing this because we like to hear ourselves talk, even though it's not so bad. But we really do want to make a difference, and that's why we do spend the time with you, and we hope you spend the time with us.
And, I was thinking about this. We proved to ourselves that we were going to stick to it because we started this a year ago, March 1st. And so that was one of the reasons why I hit you up recently. I said, we're working on the website because I wasn't willing to go and do that if, in 3 months we both found we hated it and we didn't enjoy it and we didn't find the value of it. And it's so often that I text you and I'm like, I'm so proud of what we do, especially when I go back and have to edit through it and you're like, dang,
I love it. No, I do love it. I love what we do, working in the community, working for the community, and working, really across the U.S. and across international waters. That's what we do. And we're happy to do that. And I know I can,
waters, if you want to.
That's true. That's exactly right. And so here we are. Take us or leave us. Hopefully you won't leave us. But leave comments. We do like that.
Ooh, I wanted to ask you about this, and this is more metaphysical. So this is kind of more in bread with, I guess, what we should be doing. Who knows?
We're having fun, folks.
We get to do what we want.
Do it on. Grab your coffee. Let's get at it.
Coffee.
What's up?
Okay, so I was watching this guy, and and the reason it stuck with me was because you know how when we talk about what we believe to be true, and especially me, because I'm a little bit more mature than you, and I will kind of get ramped up, and I'll be like, and then I just don't understand, and then I'll stop myself because there will just be this recognition of like, this isn't the rabbit hole, this isn't the audience, this isn't the time. But it's that kind of earnest thing.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
And he did that on the topic of he believed, I haven't watched this whole thing, and I can't remember much detail about who he is, but anyways, he's somebody who works in metaphysical, he works with the churches, so he's more in more organized alignment. But the thing that he got on a rant about that I felt was so earnest was he was talking about, he said, uninformed, not salvation, but the word would, it's exorcism adjacent. I can't remember the phrase, but he was basically saying like when he comes into a deliverance, and he said that if you go about that uninformed, everyone assumes it's always a demon. And then he got into talking about what things that you and I have spoken about, but in different language, where he was talking about how trauma splits the soul, which we know it does. And he was saying that sometimes certain thought forms or different things can wrap around that piece. So if you're a priest or you're somebody and you're demanding this part of themselves leave them and it can't, then now there's a moot point and the legalese is all messed up anyway, and that energy doesn't have to go anywhere. And so then he was saying, and I thought this was interesting because I dreamed about it later. He said, instead of casting out a demon that you do or do not know is there, he was saying you call upon that something be washed with living water, and that will separate anything that's non-native from the spirit.
Interesting.
And what was weird was the only other place I've read about that phrasing was when we were talking about the marine spirits.
I remember that. Yes.
Earlier in the year.
Yep.
So it was just it was almost like all those words kind of chimed together because recently that had been important to us and knowing more about
Interesting.
it. I thought that was fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Have you heard of this? Like, I know that we're allegedly, through more scripture-based, everything comes from living water.
I love that.
But I've
And
never
that's
heard
true.
it prayed about or called upon to help in the work we do.
I love that. Well, we recognize the cleansing properties of water. We recognize the healing properties. We recognize the amplification of water.
Yes.
And so we can see where it would do that work. I love that. I do feel that there is a part of us, with trauma, that a piece of our soul, and people don't like to hear it, but, we become fragmented. Our soul becomes fragments sometimes. And we realize through shamanism that we can heal those parts. We can bring those parts back to us. But we also recognize that there are times that there are entities and energies that attach themselves to the parts that might be fractured. Now, along those lines, and it's a perfect segue, thank you so much, my dear, because I've heard it now 2 different times in the last week, and I really just want to scream. So this is a wonderful opportunity for me to take a segue here. Slight, same thing, a little bit different.
Okay.
I've had 2 different clients come to me in the last week. One was a very devout Christian, Catholic church. Still, she believes in what we do. She trusts me because I've talked to her many times, and we've got a good working relationship. We keep it simple. We keep it light. She's looking, to, again, stay within the faith bases, but also understand how to help and do other things for people. So she comes to me and she is crying and shaking. And I said, it's okay. Let's figure this out. She comes to my office. She sits down and she tells me, and this is the second one I've had in a very, very short period of time, in addition to the ones that I had last month. Okay. She comes to me and she says, I've been told that I have a demon attached to me.
Oh, no. Yep.
Now, anyone with good common sense knows that telling someone they have a demon attached to them might have ramifications. It might put them in a state of panic. It might put them in a state of disrepair. It might put them in a state of fear. I mean, wouldn't you be afraid if you thought that now the boogeyman was chasing you, or worse, attached?
And an invitation, almost. An
invitation. She was terrified, and she said, no, my God protects me. And it scared her. It scared her tremendously. And then in this particular scenario played out where this person started chanting and saying things over her that she was unfamiliar with. And then basically she left feeling like her leg wasn't working. And she was terrified.
What?
So whether that was something that she, in her fear state of mind, she manifested, or whether because of what was being presented to her, it manifested temporarily. But here's a very, very stable, very, very stable woman. I've known her for a long time, completely derailed completely. Because someone willy-nilly thought it would be fun to say, oh, you've got a demon. And the thing about it is, we never want to take the mindset that you're a demon, I'm a demon, we're all demons. Woo! It isn't a party out there, folks. If you have someone tell you that, they need to, one, be very respectful of the fact that that's a significant thing. That's not something like, oh gosh, you've got, something just that's low vibrational. It's a pretty significant role that they would play. And so she, again, went every direction, mentioning the soul fragmentation. She thought that now, because she was going through a divorce, that her whole life, was being basically destroyed because the demon had attached itself, or even though she knew it wasn't, which was a good thing, attached itself because she was unwilling in this divorce, but nevertheless, she was in the midst of a divorce. That she was, a part of it. So my long-winded story here, I want to finish by saying, be very mindful, people. If I get 2 in 2 weeks, that's one a week, and this isn't the first time I've heard this, use good judgment. I mean, why are you telling people that they have a demon? Demons are not candy bars, okay?
Is this somebody in our community, do you think? Or
yes.
No? Yes. It's just interesting because I'm just recalling a very similar scenario that I experienced.
Probably very similar indeed. And again, there are times, call it like you see it, but not 7 out of 10 people have demons, really. And if they do have a way to help, quite honestly, if you feel someone has a demon, I mean, look at the oldest of scriptures, look at the oldest of oldest, and recognize that there are angels assigned to certain demons that will banish them, which is way above our pay grade.
Yeah. But also it is, I while you were speaking, I received like this imagery to explain so that some people don't become scared of the thought of the soul fracturing.
Yes,
And the imagery I received was it's kind of like a gecko that loses its tail.
absolutely.
And so we are intended, and it has always been referenced, our soul has always been referenced as like a butterfly in that it is skittish.
Yeah,
And for us to finish all the things that we've decided we're here to do, sometimes we have experiences that don't serve us and will
right.
not serve us to keep. And so keep with us for this period of time. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And I'm certainly not saying that there is, I'm simply saying that it is much more of a defensive mechanism and it's sort of built into the way of being. So it's not
Absolutely.
like, and they used to talk about that they would do soul retrievals after a young boy fell off of a horse because they
Right.
didn't want that memory or that experience of trauma on the soul to get lost and be left behind so that sometime in battle one day he would remember, be triggered or jerk and not be as much of a warrior as he should be.
Exactly.
So
Right.
they were doing retrievals off of broken arms and things that were just, in comparison to sometimes what we think about trauma, not so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Folks out there, don't feel that your soul is going to like disappear or you're going to, have so many pieces that'll be
Run away from
broken
you.
off. Yeah. No. I promise you will not turn into a zombie because you will not be soulless.
No, but on the top side of things, everyone in today's era, especially kind of walking in and out of our not population, but our community, is sort of on the path of healing and on self-discovery.
Yes,
When attempting
absolutely.
it,
Tempting it. Yes.
And so I would say this is a decently general rule of thumb, but if you put your timeline down in front of you and there's a part in particular that just feels owie and I don't look there very often and I don't like to look there, and certainly I promise you, unfortunately, as with most things,
Yeah.
the most valuable thing is probably found there.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so sometimes the pursuit of digging into something that seems so destabilizing and painful to go do, one of the reasons might be, well, what if within that, the inflammation and the pain and the memories that come with trying to even get close to that timeline or that time frame or that event, it's like, but what if you do, you might find this shiny piece of yourself again.
Exactly.
And get to take that back with you. Maybe that's worth it. Because what do we do to avoid it? We drink, we do promiscuous things, we make friends with the wrong people.
Absolutely. We're humans.
Marry the wrong people. We do it all to avoid going and finding ourselves.
Right. We're in a beautiful free will vessel. We make a lot of mistakes as humans, and that's okay. And for those people out there, again, I'm not really trying to bash anyone. Do I believe in demons? You bet I do. Absolutely do. Do I believe that they are as common as sometimes we are being told and led to believe? I really don't.
No.
There's a lot of specificness to their presentations. And so do I see that as a regular, day-to-day occurrence? Absolutely not.
Also, if you're the practitioner that, I hope not, but I would suspect that might be participating in this, I just hope that there's a recognition that the people that send that fear out, they almost are never the one that gets the money that they're wanting when they set in motion to fix it. Because eventually you're injecting so much fear into one person with that. They're not, even if they want to, even if they trust you when you say it.
Right.
We naturally recoil. It's like shooting the messenger. They don't go back to you. They go to us. So if you're trying to line your pocket by convincing these people that they're broken and that they've had people standing at the foot of their beds while they looked down on them when they were younger, that was what I was told by someone I think this could be. It's a problem, and you're not lining your pockets the way you think you are. You're lining ours. And we don't have to do anything crazy. We just sit there and explain to them why this is impossible. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just wish
And to the people that we try to protect, I'm
Yes.
sorry, but you will not walk in a whole person doing well with your life, well with your job, well with your family, well with your kids, and suddenly have an attachment just because somebody said that you did.
Absolutely not. And again, if you're out there, I know if you're out there and you're thinking or you're contemplating being that one, just give it, as Sterling said, give it some thought, because we're changing lives, but the goal is to change them for the better, not to change them to a fear mode. This whole world is built on a fear mode right now. We don't need any more fear, especially fear that's not warranted.
Mm-mm. And I would be curious, if in this individual, if some of his health issues would reduce if he would stop acting in such poor health with others.
Well, and again, everything has its backlash, its backwash. We recognize that sometimes when we do things that are not really above board, we end up getting some type of feedback. And again, I am not here. I'm not here to bash, to criticize. I'm simply here, hopefully, to instruct. The bottom line is, if you are someone that has gotten a recent message like that, take it and look at it from a bit of an intellectual point of view first. Don't take it into your fear-based mode, even though I know it's startling. And again, I hate to say it, but come see us. And I say it like that because I wish you wouldn't have the fear that you have to go search for someone to help you get over the fear. But know that you're probably just fine.
And also too, we've talked about this before, but again, we might have new listeners. I'm going to rush through this, but you and I, we were training together. So I had enough understanding to recognize that how many things would have to be wrong and failing in my energy for there to be an attachment. I just didn't know the rest of it. I knew it was grave. I knew that for that to be true would be pretty devastating. And that we recognize that typically extends and becomes foothold capable, I guess, when you have a lot of addiction and a lot of self-abuse and a lot of self-betrayal. And your energy's reduced so much that something of such low vibrations and low vitality would be able to attach, because we're very bright energies and we're very hard to get a hold of. So we have to really reduce the brightness and give it some grips for that to be true.
Right, for that to take hold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to be able to stay, because you'd be crazy. Yes. It's crazy how much a good night of sleep will do for somebody. And I'm not kidding, what it cast off. That's true. So we have an expectation to be whole and autonomous, and that we have a natural state, a natural way of getting back to that. Right. So it has to be really damaged for that to not be true. Anywho, on a Thursday, I go and I do this thing. So in a local community, it's before I knew anybody. And I get told the same thing. I get told that from childhood, my sleep, and this is true, my sleep's always been bad. So there was enough there to make it credible.
Evidence, right? Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, I don't see you. We trained on Mondays. So I'll never forget and I didn't feel comfortable enough to call you at the time. We probably have been training 4 months. And so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't think I've ever been more scared. It just because I was just so scared. And I got to you. I made terrible decisions that weekend that were not characteristic of me. Mm-hmm. And then I get to you on Monday, and I'm just feeling grateful that I even have you as a resource. I get to you and I'm like, do you feel this around me? Like, it could also, it messed with my trust of you a little bit, because I thought, I sit in front of her every day. If this were true, she should be able to see it, or she's not telling me, And then I thought back on, I remember thinking back on my past and thinking, oh my God, maybe my past has done enough to where this would stick with me. Da 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 da. And then finally it came out like, you're like, A, no. B, this is a thing that this person does. You know what I mean? And it generated quite a bit of rage around me, but also it generated this like full understanding of, dang, that's a real thing. Yeah. Oh, you're not supposed to be up there. That's crazy.
Kitty. Oh, so pretty out.
I hope you get down, or I'm going to rip you off of there. Get down.
Oh, we love to keep it real, folks. See, this is a real-time action. Isn't that a beautiful cat? Oh, that's Terri. Come down, sweetie pie. Mommy is not happy with you. Oh, there we go, our four-legged friend.
He exposed that I'm wearing a Snuggie.
That's okay, Snuggie. Hey, I'm wearing look at me. I've got this, I don't know what this is. What is this? It's like a sweatshirt, something with
It's
a
our
big old
snow
zipper.
day outfits, okay?
It's our snow day outfits. I like that. Oh my gosh. I like that. Reminds me of, remember Christmas Story with the little kid? Not Ralphie, but his brother. Mike. What was his name? Not Mikey. I can't think what his name is. But he was always walking like this, because he had the snowsuit on.
Oh God, I'll have to tell you a story about snowsuit one time.
Oh,
are you going to say hi to Auntie Terri?
Hello, sweetie pie. How are you? You were just seeing if you could get away with something. I know.
Yep.
You were feeling a little bit frisky.
Feeling left out or something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. No.
Anywho, all that to say,
yeah,
there are just people that are, and we've talked about this, it's real though, but we talked about it last episode, just the bad faith actors, man. They're there. We get it. But
get it.
I just wish they got how much it's not really benefiting them.
Oh, well, it's not. And it just breaks my heart. It really does, because people get terrified. People get scared. They get afraid. Good people get afraid over something that isn't true. And it doesn't mean that I am the all-knowing. I don't mean it from that perspective. It's simple. There's a very set guidelines. If someone is possessed or has an attachment that's demonic, you'll know it, and it won't be because
they will know it.
They'll know it too. There'll be something way wrong with the way they act.
Yes. Oh gosh, that's so. Well, and I mean, I guess I'd ask you this, like, well, this kind of segues into what we were potentially going to talk about, and so you and I both get asked 100 times in a week of readings, what can I do to get in touch with my gifts? How many times do we hear that?
Every single client.
Hammer that into a wall with my eyes closed.
Yep.
Tell me how to know it.
Tell me how to do it. Tell me how to make it happen.
And I love that, because it's an acknowledgement that we have gifts.
Yes.
But it's also like an acknowledgement of, like, how do we do that? It is the question that we would all ask all the time.
Yes.
If you know they're out there, how do you get to them?
Right. How do you get to the gifts you know that you have? That's a good point.
And what's awesome is that this also seems to dovetail the same answer for how do I know I don't have an attachment? Because they both require the removal of all this other stuff that we get stuck with in the environment, in our social environment, in our upbringing, and distill us to who we are, all of our flaws. Not distilled down to perfection, certainly distilled down to acknowledgement of truth,
right,
and authenticity. Even if your goal is improvement, or even if you are on a villain arc and you plan to tear it all down, at least you know that about yourself, and you're acting
know that typically. That's right. Yep.
Because the lack of knowing oneself is the devil's playground, partly, for sure.
Partly,
because it doesn't. It will allow something to hide in places and name itself something else. And
exactly.
So when you start noticing you're being a bully, but you're also realizing that your marriage is falling apart and you've never been a bully before. Well, there's probably a correlation.
Absolutely.
You'll and now notice, we've got... Okay.
No, that makes sense. You'll notice the things that you're doing, and other people will certainly notice them as well.
And those demons, because we in modern nomenclature, we do ironically call those things demons. If you're devastated about the death of your relationship and you start brandishing that against others, that's an unknown, unnamed demon.
Right.
Within you.
Yes.
So you have to know yourself and say, dang, I am feeling really, really depressed and unstable and not enough. And I'm trying to shift that scale by feeling better than others. And so I can defang that. I can declaw that by acknowledging I'm just really sad.
Yep.
Right. And so that's the same thing as whenever, when you want to know, is my energy super hyper susceptible to this big fear of attachment? Well, ask yourself, how much do we honor ourselves? And the benefit is, and I'm not saying, I say this as a relieving thing, not as like permission, but we keep it real. I have met and I have been somebody without great habits. And
That's
I've
okay.
never gotten close to, and I've seen others not be close to this big fear about attachment. And it's simply because even within their habits that are not great,
Mm-hmm.
they have almost this like identity around it, or this knowingness that it's wrong, or this acknowledgement. And so it doesn't, you can't hide anything in it.
Right. It's a compass. Right.
And so I think there's something to say, like, we're not saying you have to live a pristine life to not have doors open, as some people say, like, how many doors have you left open?
Exactly.
But you don't want all the doors open.
No,
if you have
to use.
promiscuity, are you?
Yep. Up. There we go. Hello. Hi, beautiful soul. You disappeared into the universe for a moment. I don't know. Maybe spirit was speaking. I don't know. Maybe there's a demon attached to you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So we come back to say that demons are great. We love them. They're wonderful. And
I know. Oh my
and I
gosh.
take
We're
it all
making something upset, right? We're making something upset. It's going, oh my God, I'm going to screw with your screen for a while here. We're going to get rid of that chick with the dark hair. Banish her.
No,
Be
kidding.
gone.
So I take it all back. They're great. Anyway.
Isn't that funny? We're talking about demonic
don't
energy,
better
and all of a
yourself
sudden
at
you go
all.
poof.
Stay as you are. You're perfect. Just kidding.
That's right. Stay just as you are. Well,
Oh,
really,
too funny.
the solution to that type of mindset too is to have some general working knowledge, as much as what you would look like if you actually had something. Yes, you'd probably be really cranky. Yes, you'd probably be losing weight. You probably would be gaining weight. You'd probably be shaking, and you'd be having a little bit of pallor, and you'd be looking like you're ill. You probably would be very out of touch with your family, your friends, yourself. You'd be kind of in a state of complete disarray. It's not really very subtle. It's not like, oh gosh, I forgot to say thank you to the mailman. It's more of, you forgot to change the clothes you've been wearing for a week, or you forgot to acknowledge the fact that you've got a wife and 3 kids, or you forgot the fact that you have a job to attend to. There are a lot of things that would come into play. Now, some of them wouldn't be all that in your face, but some of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, you could maintain and unfortunately have as your existence, which would indicate that you've got something that's kind of attached to you. But the average attachments are rare. They're not like 1 out of 10. They're probably 1 out of about 100,000. People don't typically have them. If you want to call it an addiction attachment, that's a whole different psychological playground.
Yeah, that's not the same.
That's not a metaphysical playground.
But that's not the same.
Right. It's a different playground. We're talking more of psychological.
Why do you think that is? Why is the playground so different? One's spiritual?
Well, again, you can sit in front of any psychiatrist and say, well, the demons around you are telling you it's okay to have these instances of doubt, and and where you go and you're promiscuous, or you do blah blah and blah blah blah, right? Well, metaphysical, we take it more seriously. If we're talking demonic energy, we're talking about things that go bump in the night, not something that's considered in the in the handbook from the American Medical Association. So we're looking at it more, I call it more concretely, that we're looking at it from the terminology of demon, and what it really means. It's not just a bad action or a less than stellar action. It's an actual entity,
yes.
And that's the difference. So that's kind of where I'm going with it.
Well, and one could argue that there are certain actions that have high focus to certain entities. So, for instance, hypersexuality,
absolutely.
That will be a specific lever for a specific type of energy. Certain versions of gluttony, certain versions of meanness. Like there's maliciousness as opposed to, and I don't know why, but they're drawing a similarity, not in a bad way, obviously, but between the transient nature of nature sprites and how,
I love nature sprites.
And I don't know much about that energy, but they were kind of saying, like, just like you could have two energies of the same element act very differently, and none of it technically wrong, but maybe not in our best interest.
Probably not.
How then do you
They're
call
playful
that?
souls.
It's not the same as a demon.
Well, and and that's the thing. What happens oftentimes is that people that have very little awareness as to what an actual demon is, and a little awareness is to the ramifications of having one, and someone who has little information as to what happens when someone is terrified that they are now possessed of sorts. That's what we're dealing with. We've got a subset of people that just go in and kind of with a wrecking ball, and they take away everybody's faith, and they take away everyone's hard work. When you have someone who is going through a devastating divorce and trying to do everything in their power to do the right thing, and now this soul has a demon. What disregard is that
Or
for
had one all
her
along.
progress? And there'll be people out there that'll disagree, and I think that there are too many people that take it very casually. Like, oh yeah, well, I have 3 demons. Well, good for you. You're still breathing. That's that's probably not the fact that you have a demon, or 3 of them, in fact.
Oh, that's a great point. They kind of move through hosts kind of quick.
They do move through hosts kind of quick. That's exactly right.
So,
you become, if you're, think of it, oh my God. Can you imagine if a vampire was feeding on you? Wouldn't you eventually lose your lust?
yeah.
Of course you would. You'd lust her for sure, right?
Well, what's weird, I can't remember. There's a person that I knew with you, and basically they wound up taking their own life, and it was the first experience I had where we spoke about somebody that had an attachment that I knew of. I'd met this person twice, and the last time I met them, they were doing really well. Like they cleaned up, they looked cleaned up, they've been just doing well. And then obviously things didn't go well. And that though, and I can't remember, I was training with you the second time I met him, and I didn't feel around him anything scary or negative or anything, but I do remember feeling that the hope I saw behind his eyes was fake. And it's almost like that he knew, I don't know what he knew, man. It was, and do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I think I do.
With the kiddos.
I'm not going to ask you for name,
No.
but I'm almost positive I do know.
And I just remember, even in this memory looking back, because I just pulled up the last time I looked in his face and saw him, I remember thinking, everything is textbook going really well. Something wasn't right about the way he trusted himself. And so I just wonder if even in that moment they were still very active with him. Because I don't.
And they may have been. Again, we're not saying that they don't exist, because we recognize they do.
I wonder if they let him have that sense, that like if they gave him that little false dawn. Because I don't think he ever was out of any of that.
Yeah.
Oh, bless his heart, man. Because I just remember thinking, not in a negative way. I don't think he was trying to play anybody. I think he genuinely thought he was good, and I think he was behaving well. But you're one emotional thing from falling right back in, and I think he did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hard, though.
It is. It's very hard. You know what I really want the community to know, and this goes for us too. Okay, we're right in the same ball of wax.
Same.
If it doesn't feel right, don't accept it at face value. Again, it goes right back to a conversation. Not everybody who does what we do for a living is spiritual. Not everyone that does what we do is a good person. Not everyone that does what we do cares one shit about you. Please know that everybody in the community, they're still people.
You know what they just said?
They're still people.
They just said that we have really good doctors who save lives and are terrible people. Because they were saying, even if you're good at spirituality, it doesn't mean you're a good person, which is weird for me to consider.
Well, and that makes sense. Unfortunately, that's true. I mean, we've met several people with very poor bedside manners that were very, very good, at their profession.
Is that a correlation to you? Ever?
What in that?
Like, have you ever really met somebody? Your dad? Have you ever met somebody that was practicing wellness, like out there and gifted? Because your dad never professed to be practicing that, and he was very gifted, but like who was also just like really really gifted and talented, but bad?
Oh, sure there are. There's plenty of them out there. Think of it as oh my gosh, what an ego trip. You get to know what people are up to and you're a bad person. What advantage you have.
Well, but then how do you not, or like, I speak for myself, my assumption would be if I started going around lying to everybody, eventually the things that made me accurate would go away.
One would hope so.
But it's
correct.
not that way.
Well, again, remember everything's based on free will. And again, in atonement, however you see atonement, whether you see it as karma, however best you see it, again, I wish that we could come to a conclusion that everybody who does wrong is punished in front of everybody they've wronged.
Right. Yeah, that's a very idealistic
But that's
thing.
not really what it is.
Right.
That's not the nature of punishment or karma or atonement.
Well, also, too, I just thought about something. This didn't light me up if it's true. Okay, so the person that I believe is putting this energy out that keeps telling everybody they're unwell, they're spiritually sick, basically.
Mm-hmm.
My next assumption would be that this person was either an agent of an attachment, because the irony would be you're sending all of these people into a state of unrest. You're marking them as perfect opportunities for something of that nature to slip in while they believe it's true, because personal belief is 1,000,000%
absolutely.
of it. So then the question would be, is this individual just going through financial issues and presuming that this is going to beef up? Because I feel there's something around finances or low self-esteem that makes this individual say that more. So there are triggers around that.
Very likely. Very likely. So just one second.
Forgive me.
Oh, your kitty's walking by you and my husband's coming in for a kiss. My husband's coming in for a landing on podcast. Hello, lovely.
Hello.
I love you too. And yes, I'll marry you again. That was the kiss.
All right.
I was just telling my friend about being shown y'all's. I was just telling my friend about being shown y'all's wedding video, and I told him, I was like, I missed it by a year. If I'd met you a year earlier, I could have probably been there.
Oh, you definitely would have been. You'd have been probably put to work and been one of the people standing up there with us.
I remember thinking that was so beautiful, and I was thinking, dang, time, I barely missed it. But anywho. But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's like that makes me question, but then when I tap into the energy, I don't feel an attachment. So it just is general greed, which is messed up. Greed for security emotionally.
Well, right. And the greed can take on many different faces. Because what you're also talking about, and I'm not saying that this person who is handing out demons like candy is this person, but we also recognize that's how cults are formed.
We have an episode
cults
about that.
Cults are formed the same way. We have had an episode about that. Cults are formed the same way. It's my belief or the highway. It's that I am the only one. I am the all-speaking. I am the only one that has the data. I'm the only one that has the answer. I'm the only one with the truth. And if you don't follow me, then you're either going to be casted out, and someone safe to the demons, or casted out into a dark place that you'll never recover from. You never want to hear anyone say my way is the only way, because quite honestly, that should be a red flag to you as well. If my way is the only way, then I'm sorry, free will was delivered to you many, many centuries ago, and I'm not quite sure that's correct. And so it kind of is a segue back into that. What is it that you're seeking? What are those individuals that have to be in that role of such authority that to basically conjure up things for others, to be in that role where they feel that they are also encompassing and powerful. It's mind-boggling to me, and I see it. That's what I do. I'm old enough to know I've been looking for a long time to see those kind of falsehoods, to watch those that are in roles that perhaps they shouldn't be. That's kind of what I do.
I would be curious, and this is a little bit of a mean thought, so I recognize that.
I like mean thoughts. Go ahead, tell me.
I wonder, though, I've heard of some people, or there's individuals who will just make up these fantastical demons they see around people, around themselves, whatever. But wouldn't it be hilarious if, just for 5 seconds, and then you see your friends and family, but like you die and all the stuff that you made up is just like, hey, we are real. And then they fade and your family's there. Like, so it's all good. I don't want anything bad to happen, but that would be so funny if like you spent your whole life making up this crazy stuff and they're like, hey, partner, thanks for picking us. You come with us,
Oh my
right?
God.
The five?
Oh my
No.
gosh. That would be hilarious, actually.
I mean,
It would do definitely have value.
If I were their friends and family and I knew that they were doing this BS on the earth plane, I'd just prank them for like 5 seconds. They'd be like, you know, you should have been doing that, but welcome over.
Welcome over. Come on. Come on. Here. Come get a piece of the action over here, and here's your 3 demons you kept giving everyone. They've been waiting for you.
Yeah, and one will be manifesting your partner next lifetime. Anyway, bye. No.
That's right. Bye. Fun.
But only one.
Enjoy the light. Be one with the light.
Yeah. Namaste. Anyways.
Namaste. Namaste. Today and forever.
That is hilarious. Well, you know.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if we're sarcastic or just punchy today, but we're definitely something.
Well, it's definitely, there's a reason to have heat around the topic because it isn't like, let's be honest, 0% of our current social environment convinces us to be ourselves.
Yes.
A large majority of it is crafting what they want you to think you want for yourself. Sales marketing.
Yes.
And then the other arm of the promotion of something that isn't real that they want you to buy into is the degradation of what you are. So like the way that it punishes certain authenticities and you know, it's not meant to do that for us. And so yet those that walk into a metaphysical shop, you know, where you and I, we both work with Miracles of Joy in certain ways. Like it's like with the wellness expos that are done quarterly in our area, DFW. It's like these are areas where you seek them out. And then you know that even by walking through those doors, you've opened yourself up for criticism. If you come from a religious background, if you come from any background where saying, I believe this rock might do something for me, you're just not you're not in the normal. And so then there is vulnerability when somebody shows up and says, I'm willing to bare myself essentially and believe that this could be true. These things that seem magical, these things that make me feel like maybe I can have some sway in my life and in my future.
Yes.
And I have free will and it's real and it's protected by our universe. To me, that should feel and be the most emboldening thing in the world.
Absolutely.
And it is. And those spaces exist. And I think you and I do a good job of promoting what they're meant to be, which is not for them to be more like us, but for them to be able to be more themselves, whatever that actually means.
Be authentic, right? To be authentic. You know, everyone has an opportunity, and sometimes they forget that they do, to be a really great person, be a really great soul. It doesn't mean that they have all the money that they want or the perfect spouse they want or the perfect family they want or the car they want, the job they want, and blah, 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 blah. But they have every opportunity to be a really good soul. Mm-hmm. Everybody has that. It's not about whether you have the money for it. It's truly about being or not being. And that's why I don't like it when people disempower people and they make them feel like their hard work has gotten them nowhere. I feel like that's a shame. That is a shame.
Well, there's a thing that Native Americans speak about a lot, and then I know it is popped up a lot in oddly enough, elven folklore throughout our literary history. But it's this idea about truth and this idea that it's kind of immutable, right? And it's not your truth, my truth. There is a truth. There is the truth. And there are certain things that seem to be true around that. For instance, humans, we have a natural affinity towards truth. And we have a natural lack of affinity towards lying, which is crazy because we do so much of the latter to keep ourselves safe.
We do.
But there's even evidence of like that it makes us physically weak when we lie. So if you tell a story and squeeze something, your grip strength. So when you're like, well, how do I know how to be authentic? How do I know to do that? How do I take off the layers that are my mom and the layers that are my dad? And it's like, well, one thing I kind of thought about this the other day. Say out loud. Go through your friends list and just say, I like so-and-so. And you'll feel when you know that's not true anymore. Because
Right.
it just feels wrong. And it's like, just give yourself a list. If you want to know yourself over coffee, just say, I'm like, how do I feel about my job? And how many times do
Right.
you and I, oh my gosh, when we sit in front of somebody and the first 5-10 minutes are my least favorite because that's when all the lies are happen. And then we kind of smooth them out and get to the truth. But I love the stuff when it's like, well, I love my job. And it's already said in a way to convince themselves and you. What?
Right.
My job.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Like,
turn into
yeah,
Mickey
okay.
Mouse. And look.
Yep.
And you're like, no, the
And
job's
you keep
starving.
holding on that. Yeah, exactly. Until you leave. That's
And
okay. You
immediately
keep
I'm
up
like,
with that
you're
charade.
drained. You're unsupported. There's chaos in the upper level of
Yeah.
management. It's been 5 weeks since you've gotten a thank you. What are you talking about? You lose your job.
That's right.
So there is it. So truth is so little about going and finding it in the bushes that you haven't looked in yet. And so
It's
much
true.
about it is like, you think you have it. You think you already have it here. Let's just double check.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like
Double
your
check
job?
it. That's right.
Does your voice go really high when you think it? Then maybe we gotta look.
Exactly. There's many different ways to muscle test to the truth.
Well, that's a great, you've done that.
I did muscle testing.
I never got
I
to
had
go to
people
that.
put names of people they knew, and that was what they
Oh,
they held on to that name and other people.
See, or what? Well, okay, one of my favorite ones that people really do believe is true until it's not is when they're like, and unfortunately it goes around love. Happy late Valentine's to everybody. But they'll go, I do love him and he supports me and he gets me. And then in 20 minutes later, I just do everything and I'm ignored.
Yep.
And you're like, wait, diametrically opposed.
We're talking opposites.
And so imagine that in the body and in the brain every day you wake up. There's no way you feel vitalized, important. Like
it's impossible.
God, and it breaks my heart because I know that this is in me in different spurts and different seasons. And I know it's in others. And so it's this very like, I could see, and I've definitely, it has made me catatonic before. Where you're like, I know something's wrong. I know the story's wrong. I know what I'm saying about myself and to myself is wrong. But I don't really have what it takes right now to get to that truth.
Right. Well, but the difference is you didn't try to fake yourself out.
No,
and that's the key.
Yes.
When we start faking ourselves out, we forget that we eventually lose sight of who we are because we're so used to being something that we're not that we take on a false persona. And the next thing we know, we're placating to something that's not even us.
Well, the thing I keep telling people, because I've had several clients lately who are just really, there's a just new chapter, like, and we know new chapters don't start that frequently.
Right.
So, but these are real new chapters. And I keep telling them, I'm saying like, there's a period of time in the name of authenticity where you're going to have to go be inauthentic. And the best thing you can do is go tell and warn your family and friends, I'm going to be weird for a year. If I come back with red hair, don't talk to me. Don't do the whole, no, you know what I mean.
Wait, let's backtrack here.
Well, in specifics, in my mind's eye, there's this beautiful blonde and she's about to go try to take care of some business. And I have a feeling that she's going to go through a fire engine red phase.
Yep.
And so
that makes sense.
That's what, but you know what I mean? And so
I gotcha.
And these people need room and permission by their loved ones.
Yes.
And that's when you just go silent into the group chat that they're not in and you go, well, Sophie's having a crazy year, man. And you and then you say, but I'm going to give myself a year. And if I'm still acting wild in a year, come get me. But let me have this experience. I don't know what in this situation. I've been married 12 years. I don't know who I am. And it's been kind of abusive too. So she's had a repressive thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my point just being, everyone wants to be authentic. Everyone wants to find the gifts that they believe that they know that they have. And there's I can't train you up to it.
Nope.
You can't sit in a corner and meditate long enough for it. You have to take off the part of you that says, I don't really care about designer bags, but my mom did. So what am I doing here? I don't need these. But somewhere the wires got crossed that if I get a Chanel bag, that means my partner loves me. But even
Yeah,
now,
and give it to me. It isn't for you.
Terri would like
Give
it.
it to me.
It will mean that she is loved. But that feeling of like when your partner gives you something and it means nothing and you think it should and you know it should, but it's not you because you haven't been real with yourself or
I
your
remember
partner.
that. I was married before. Yeah.
Yeah. So anywho, my point is being it's the removal of things we come to find more often than the finding of things.
Oh, I like that. So once we remove things, that's really creating then the building blocks thereafter to find who we really are in an authentic way.
And you taught me that.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
Full circle moment.
Oh my gosh, it's me. I can't remember a thing.
No, but you're so busy. You've got a reading at 6, so I'm going to let you get some downtime.
I love what we do. I'm so excited. And I know some of you are on the other side of this screen today, tonight, tomorrow, whenever it may be. You're thinking, oh my God, do I know this person? Do I know that person or not know that person? All that we're saying, we're not trying to go out there and on a witch hunt. We're just simply saying, please use good judgment. The most disadvantage anyone ever gave to the metaphysical work that we do collectively, the most disservice has been when they have put the simple statement, which is a very powerful but simple little phrase, for entertainment purposes only. If you're doing this as a pony show, or you pulled the wagon along the sign to get your crystal ball out, you're really, really making us look bad. Because that's never been the way it was originally designed.
I'm going to be honest, and this is going to sound arrogant for you and me, though. You're making us look real good.
Well, and I'm grateful for that. But in the same breath, I'd like more people to be more satisfied.
I agree. And more in faith that it's real. More in faith.
More informed. Yes.
Yeah, the informed part, right? Because if you do believe that I can sit here and read your future, but you don't believe that you have any control over it, then that's a problem. That's the information problem, right?
Right. Then it's just, you're not getting anything out of it.
Well, if you do believe you have guides, or you don't believe that there are guides, but you do believe there are demons, then that's it. That's misinformation.
It's misinformation. More than anything, folks, take the moment, take the time to really evaluate things. If it doesn't feel right, don't accept them. Say no, thank you. No, thank you.
Say no to drugs.
When I have people that come through and you don't want to talk to them, all I say is you tell me to say no, thank you. And what that simply means is that you are valued enough in the physical world that if you don't feel comfortable with whatever's coming through, or you disagree with what's going on, no, thank you. Now, sometimes we're going to get lessons and information we don't really want to hear. We may want to say no, thank you, but at least take it to heart a little bit. But I'm talking about energies, entities, those in the spirit world. If someone is saying there's a tangible person or energy or entity or demon, and you're like, that scares me, I don't want it, please help me. The answer is no, thank you. Don't take it. And that's going to help a lot. It is.
There is a diabolical strength to the belief that you are okay and whole and will continue to be.
Yes.
Like, even if it's not, this is what's crazy. Even if it's not true, your belief that it is will bring it so. And if you want evidence of that, let's look into some placebo effects through medicine.
That's exactly right. And you remind me of that, my dear, when I have my shoulder surgery, because I've decided that I'm going to be a big wimp. I can usually handle anything. I mean, I've done a scouting for food drive with 4 broken ribs before. Okay. God. I have done everything under the sun with whatever situation I have had. But I've decided I'm going to be a baby when I get my shoulder replaced. Say, I'm going to be all plastered over going, ah, and I'm going to feel it because I'm going to do it. This one time I figured I'd save it till I was in my 60s. I am, in order to be able to go, poor me. So I'm going to do that.
But what I already know about you is you're not going to be poor me. The problem is going to be that you've already decided you're not working for 3 weeks and you're going to be smoke signaling in the back readings for someone 4 blocks over. Because what else will you do?
Well, it's funny you said that. Yes. In my yurt.
And
I
you'll be
want
like,
my
your
yurt.
grandfather loves you. Probably like, what's that?
Where are all my rich clients? I want my yurt. Why haven't I no yurt in my backyard? I want a yurt.
You have a
I've
nerd
only
and
wanted
you'd
a
like a
yurt for
yurt.
years. People are going, I've got to research what a yurt is. What the hell's a yurt? I just want a yurt.
This is a
Either that or $1
joke.
million, and I'll buy my own yurt. But you know what I'm thinking of doing? And even though I'll be one-armed, my left, thank God I'm left-handed.
That is a thank God. I forget you're left-handed.
No, it's left-handed. I'm so excited. I'm gonna
have an excuse
peck at
to
the
tell
keyboard.
Taylor you're not watching it.
What's that now? Where what?
You're not gonna have an excuse to tell Taylor why you can't watch something. You're
No.
gonna have to come up with a game plan, ma'am.
Got the game. Yeah, I am. But I thought it would be a good time to start going back and working on Contemptus.
Yes.
So, I figured I probably have 1 to 2 weeks where I can kind of, keep everybody at bay.
Yeah.
And I thought I might work on that book. If I could actually do it all with one hand.
Well, that's
I
beautiful.
might be leaning into the keyboard like this, There's that close-up for y'all.
No, but,
so that I can do that.
But I know
might do that.
Don't get frustrated and start doing both.
I might do that too.
Know.
We'll see.
Well, I know.
I'll be taking Uber to work because I'll be like, I can't friggin' drive, but
You're
I
like,
can
need
talk.
to see the people I work with.
Open the door for me, not in the car, but in that door. I gotta get to my office.
No, don't worry, the office door is open for you. They're like, we missed you, Terri.
We've missed you. And the lights start flickering. And I walk through the door and I feel I'm not alone.
Listen.
But I only have one hand. I'm the one-armed bandit. Oh, no. Okay, that's another book. I'm sorry, people.
Listen. Well, I'm so glad you're going to take some time off. I'm so glad you're going to work on that book. And
I am too. And, again, I'll be back at it. But I don't want I don't want my clients to think I've dropped off the face of the earth or died or something. They know I'm getting old. They've been telling me about my banner. I know I'm old, but
well, what you could do, you could turn into a millennial female, me, and you could go and you could just be like, what do they do online? Sometimes when it's cold outside, it's cold inside, and then you stop responding to everybody, and everyone's like,
I love it.
Have you seen that? When people will just post vague stuff and all they want is someone to be like, what's wrong?
I know. I've read those posts,
please don't reach
I can't
out.
make it anymore.
But don't reach out.
Don't reach out. Don't you hate
wellness
that?
right now.
I can't handle it anymore. I can't do it anymore. And then all of a sudden they're ghosted everybody. And there's 400 messages going, I'm a firm believer. If you send that and I read it, I'm sending an ambulance and a fire truck and a police to your house. So you better choose your words wisely.
I told you over Thanksgiving, and I'm not worried about that. No one ever listens to this. I had a situation this would implicate is what I mean, because I'm.
No, that was fun.
So I don't know the people that I'm worried about on this list, but no. So
right.
I had that happen where somebody was like, well, everything's just so sad. I'm so suicidal. And I literally wrote back, I'm not the one. My friend has your address because he dropped you off. I'll send a wellness check right now.
Bingo.
And immediately,
that's right.
They're like, no, I'm fine. You're like,
I'm fine.
That's
I
crazy.
just needed a little attention.
So you wanted to leverage my emotional money, my emotional bandwidth, the thing that's limited.
Bingo. Yep. That's what it was. I love it.
You.
You challenged him.
Anyways,
you called him out on it. You're like, either going to kill yourself now or I'm getting a cop over there.
And it lives in the family. So I'm like, I know your parents don't want to deal with this. Don't do this. You're grown.
Right.
We're all grown.
Don't be stupid. That's right.
But regardless, we all have our moments. We have our insane moments.
I know. I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to brush my hair to do this after my arm surgery.
So it's March.
I may look very ragged.
Well, I mean, if it helps, would you consider posting on Facebook to say, hey, I'm going to be medically unavailable for whatever reason?
Girl, I'm going to be putting a head camera on my head for surgery. Everybody's going to know the play-by-play because the day I get back, I want some good sweets, okay?
Hell yeah. Oh, absolutely.
No, but I will. I'm going to,
Ice cream.
I'm a very private, ice cream. Ice cream's good. Instead of going to the airport, let's go get ice cream.
I didn't even think, yes, ice cream, but I was thinking, because it's good with medicine. For me,
it is.
I like it.
It is.
Medicine
How much medicine do you think I'm going to be taking?
Quite a bit.
Oh,
the good stuff.
Those podcasts might be real curious.
I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna need some of that.
But it's true. I'm a very private person by nature. That's why you really don't see me anywhere other than doing podcasts. I really don't. I'm kind of that person. But I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna. Obviously, I want to make sure my clients know that I'm alive and well and didn't just move to Tulsa or wherever else that might be. No, I don't want to move to
That was an
Tulsa.
interesting thought to pick.
How about we move to? God, I can't even think of it. Las Vegas. Let's go green, right? Money. But so instead of that, I want them to know that I didn't forget them. I'm just a little preoccupied.
Yes, in the
But I am. I'm going to post that. So get ready, all of you wonderful people out there. Send positive thoughts because we'll need them.
And I will say this as your daughter in spirit.
Yes,
there will be a list of names that I would like to find of the people that hit you up after your surgery that say, I know that you just got your shoulder replaced, but can I have 5 minutes of your time?
I had someone at 10:30 last night. 10:30 last night reach out to me and ask me if I had any time to do a reading tonight. I'm like, 10:30. So tonight's going to happen for another hour and a half.
Oh, did you do it?
Anyway, that's a whole new bag.
Well, I had one. But, have you ever had this? What did you think? Somebody sent me the money beforehand. I was like, if you thought that was going to do something, it's not.
I sent him a message and says, oh my God, that is so sweet of you. Thank you. I know, that was real kind of you to send that to me. Happy Valentine's to you too. Happy Christmas, happy Easter, happy day, happy birthday.
Happy life.
That was so sweet of you. Thank you. It's going to good use.
Yeah, I was.
No, but I've come up with a scenario. You said something in just a minute ago. I've tried to figure out what to call you, and I was telling Brian I've come up to a really, really cool place with that.
Yeah.
So I look at it this way: I have a son born to me.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son through marriage, and I have a daughter by choice.
I love that.
And so I'm going to stop calling you every one of those like, well, she's like my adopted
daughter. It's awkward. We're so awkward. We're awkward in the same way. It's so funny to me. She's like my mom, but she's my mentor, but she's my friend. But I feel awkward when I call her a friend because that's not respectful enough.
I don't know what she is. Yeah, I don't know what I am either half the time.
Well,
but I love it.
Shit, I love you.
That's good. I love you too. I love our listeners. I love our viewers. If they can put up with this, they can put up with just about anything.
Yes. Well, and I keep hearing what's kind of been bizarre to me is other than editing this, I feel like we listen to ourselves once it's done. And I will sometimes, especially if I need to feel better, I'm not gonna lie, like listening to us makes me feel better. But other than that, I don't really do it. And sometimes people will sit in front of me now. It's started to happen more. And they somebody brought up the ice cream story to me and I forgot. And I was like, that's really beautiful because it impacted them enough to bring it up to me.
It did. It impacted them.
And
see, I love that.
But then it's kind of weird because we talk about so much and we live life in between us talking. So it's hard to remember exactly. Sometimes I've been like, how did I cover that topic? Because I know how I would say it to you. And I know how hopefully I said it to you on camera.
Well, I know. I get the same way. I've got people that sit in front of me and they said, well, you said this and this and this about what we're talking about now. I'm like, well, okay, well, there you have
That's
it.
when you say, the past and the present and the future, they're independent moments.
They are independent moments. And if I don't feel it today while I'm talking to you, you ain't going to hear it.
And they go home, they're like, what did that mean? And you're like, I don't know either. It's to get you off the fence.
Oh my gosh, I love life. Life is a good thing.
But
it's very cool.
We have done it, and I will see you next week.
Done it.
We'll figure out when that is.
Yes.
But
oh my gosh, I know. Yes, we'll figure it out. Probably be another day, not a Monday, because I have all these testing and mappings to do. I feel real special. Put me in one of those machines that go.
And so is that just to get? Are they fitting you for the plastic bit?
No, actually, I'm going to go in and get CT mapped. Whenever that CT maps, it's so everything is I guess kind of like X marks the spot of all the little debris, and I don't know. We'll see. And then I have all sorts of fun stuff. Then I get fitted for a sling, And then I get to go in for my, it's my pre-surgery release. I get to go in that. I got all these wonderful
You're
appointments.
so busy.
It's pretty cool.
Well,
It's,
so
I mean, it's great.
you would hate this. But you're gonna start taking time off and then start the appointments, or you're gonna take time off from the surgery onward.
No, my surgery is on the 12th. After from the 11th on, I will be probably out of pocket to in-house clients from the 11th to the 31st.
Okay.
And then I'll see clients out probably for phone readings after about 10 days. I've got to see how I'm feeling. Yeah. Okay. I'm old and I don't know how surgery is going to treat me.
God, what if you start having really good readings?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I'm really bad about medications.
Oh no!
And when they diced and sliced my, for the skin cancer, I was like, what do I do with this? And she said, take it for pain. I said, really? Can I take it when I feel better so I'll know if I like it?
Yeah, really.
She just looked at me.
They're like, we'll take those. Thank you.
Okay, I'll have those later.
Well, no,
I was thinking when I'm in a happy mood.
And now it's just Tylenol 3.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I thought it made sense when I said I don't want to take it while I'm sick because I don't know what it's going to do to me. I want to know what it's like.
Also, audience, she has a medical background.
Yeah, exactly.
In the industry.
And I told her, I said, I'll probably hold on to him for my shoulder surgery. And she said, you'll probably get something else. I said, that's even better because I'll be home.
Well, so I've been avoiding watching Yellowstone because I get resistant to it and everyone was watching it. But now I'm like, all right, I'm going to try it.
I love Yellowstone. I'm in this. I have the final season. I'm still in heartbreak because I think a major character is leaving. I'm not going to say who, but I feel that's the case. And so I love Yellowstone. It's one of my favorite shows.
I am started. I just got to season 2. We'll have to chat about that. That's fun.
Yes, Carol, that's good stuff.
Well, so I was watching it through, sorry, I promise I'll let you go. I was watching it through clips and I was finally like, why do I keep seeking out these clips? Why don't I just watch it? But there's a scene.
Watch it. It's very well done. I like.
Beautiful. I love that.
It is. It is. It's gorgeous, and it's certainly worth if anyone's not seeing Yellowstone. It's pretty provoking in some parts, but it is raw. It's raw coverage, but I like it too.
And family.
I enjoy it.
I love watching family.
It's about family. The dynamics of families, the good and the bad and the ugly. And so, I've got one more season to watch. Is the last season. And it's kind of like, when you get that last few pieces of your favorite chocolate in a box, you're afraid to consume them too soon.
More that I don't know if you
there, but I like that about her.
Well, we'll get together next week. And then obviously, during the period of time that which you were out, down and out, we will not be podcasting. I cannot even imagine.
We'll figure that out.
Being like, all right, and how do you feel about spirit? You're like, I'm trying to stay in my body. Because I see myself.
Well, you never know.
Now.
That's right. I may have the revelation of thought during that. I have an epiphany of, I may be totally in spirit. Who knows,
that
right?
Would be... You just start talking to yourself. Like, and we'll be back next week.
That's right.
Well, I'm very, very glad that you're doing this.
Where'd she go? She's here somewhere. Where did she?
And I'll literally be like, she's in my room right now. Terry, can you go home? I do low-key for real wonder if you'll be bored in spirit and start visiting more others because I just know your energy.
I probably will. It'll be different.
Yeah.
I mean, even when I go on vacation, I half my vacation I allot each day to a couple calls or a couple readings. So this is going to be really different for me.
Well, we have that problem. I have the problem where the first day off feels fine, the second day off feels like I'm worthless. So we got to figure that one out.
I know. Day off is cleaning the house and doing laundry. Get things done. Right, exactly. And my whole day's going to be trying to get my ass off from the sofa, with one arm. So, it might be interesting.
Yeah. And Brian's going to be taking off for it a little bit, or no?
No, he's going to take off his allotted time off. But I'm going to Rambo it. I'm going to find me a spot. I already made plans. Give me a sandwich. Give me 2 cups of coffee. Give me 2 glasses of wine, some dark chocolate. I'm good until tomorrow.
These are my rations.
It's my rations, and I'll figure out the bathroom as we go.
Well, obviously, we'll talk more about that. But
absolutely.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
Have a great reading.
Take care, my dear. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day.
I always feel so together after we speak. I don't know why. If I feel frazzled, I feel
me too. All right. Well, that's a good thing. We're the glue to each other.
I love it.
And that I like. And hopefully glue to some of the listeners who haven't already hung up on us. Thank you.
They missed these great nuggets.
Yeah. Misty, I finally threw away your sweater. Love you.
Well, I love you, and we'll talk soon. And until next time,
Yes,
take care.
absolutely. Take care, my dear.